Hey there, my name is Dan Woods. I go under the name of Digisum Software and I am the sole developer of A-Spec First Assault, a engaging space combat simulator with realistic flight systems using Newtonian physics, a sophisticated and device gameplay featuring detailed ship systems, including ship weaponry and module customization, all of which I'm going to show off in this video. So we've got the one mode in the demo. In the full release, there will be a campaign. For the demo, we have a skirmish where we can play around between team versus team battle. And you can set up which ships are going to fly and edit the configuration between the two teams. I'm just going to jump into my player ship. Player being you will always be number one, top of the list. And this is our ship selection screen, where if I wanted to, I could change out a current ship and choose a ship from our current faction pool, which is the Allied faction pool at the moment. On this equipment screen here are our ship slot. You can see the turret loadouts displayed and the guns in the main top left of the screen, and underneath that we've got the specification listing everything of the ship from its mass to fitting points and performance attributes down to its defense and offensive loadouts. I can change the ship if I wanted to, drag, drop, put something else in there between the other two ships in there. Curzon's our heavy corvette. Luhansk is a light corvette. Donetsk is like middle range, but with lots more turret options. I'll just go back to our Curzon and go into the loadout screen here. And we've got a lot more detailed options now, ranging our DPS for primary, secondary, and turret weapons. Primary weapons, secondary weapons are forward facing generally for the main firepower. The exception is that slot 3 in here is actually a rear missile slot. Turrets are omnidirectional. They have firing arcs. Majority of ships just got the turrets on the top of the ship and nothing underneath in general, with just one or two ships with an exception to that rule. You can see the turret arcs. This one's got, between all its 5 turrets, a 360-degree firing arc thereabouts. So you've always got a gun facing a target to shoot down. We've got our missiles between a torpedo and multiple launch rocket system. Both require target locks and can track. Torpedoes are very weak at tracking, so you need to make sure the target is pretty much straight forward facing and not got too much side velocity going on against yourself. We can just change these by dragging and dropping items, or if you're on a controller, there is controller support where you can select your slot and then choose the items which you want to do or not bother. So we've got full controller support in here throughout the game. Now talking more, so we talked about the guns, launchers, turrets. We've also got passive modules. I'll just remove these modules and we pay attention now to the DPS values for our primary weapons. I've got a couple of modules here where I can increase the firing rate of all guns. So my artillery DPS is 176, I'm going to drag that in there, and that's jumped up to 180.4. And I can drag another one, 184, another one, 186, drag another one, 187. You notice each time I'm dragging in a slot, the bonus is actually decreasing. So you can't just fit them all out and get a flat bonus rate on there. Some modules do provide a flat rate value, so scroll down, max velocity 375. If I drag this engine maximizer on there, that's up to 470, 500. So if it's flat rate value, you're fine. But if it's a multiplier, then there is a degradation in the bonus it would provide. Overall, just going to restore our original values, keep with this. I've got some reinforced armor plating, we've got more armor, and also a nanite repair optimization, which means our armor will repair at a faster rate than normal. So it'll keep us in the game longer. I'm just going to launch into the skirmish. We have a few targets, they're a fair distance away, but we also have some wingmen that I've set up and assigned to myself. And I can give them orders and I'll just tell them to go break an attack, and they will now target the closest hostile to them and engage that, which could be the light frigate at this point. With the targeting, we've got an array of targeting systems, so we can target friendlies, target enemies, we can then target the weapons attached to our target. So we see this one's got some artillery loadouts and some short range fires with a blaster. It's also got MLRS missiles, it's just been firing in my face. I can also target subsystems, so I've now targeted his crew. And what I'll do now is, now that I've got a railgun attached, I can cause significant damage if I can score a hit on the crew. There we go. With the railgun, what bypasses all armour, just goes straight into the subsystem for full amount of damage that the railgun provides. So if you was wondering why the railgun was providing 0 DPS, that was more armour damage, but I haven't put the stats in there for the subsystem damage. So don't underestimate the usefulness of a railgun, which is very powerful. If you look at the left side on wing status, you can see my wingmen are dying quite quickly, which is unfortunate, as I'm just showing off what I'm doing. With this guy, I'm just picking off various systems. Right, if I now bounce into him, he'll be spinning out of control as I've damaged his thrusters and his reactors. It's got limited mobility, and there we go, we just finally wiped him out. Let's go target our next one and go against the frigate. I can cycle through my primary and secondary loadouts, use the best tool for the job. With my turrets, I can give them orders. So at the minute, if you're looking at the weapon panel, bottom right, I've got a main target priority. I can change that, so now it would only target my target rather than only targeting my target if it's in their firing arc. I can tell them to fire at will, which will just shoot at whatever's closest to it, or hold fire altogether. And this battle went better than I thought, because we still have wingmen alive. And we're going to run through this again. We're going to change it a bit more medium and see how we can do better if we're a bit more tactical in our engagement. I'm going to switch to MLRS. I'm going to change to a destroyer and tell my team to engage that destroyer. Destroyers are quite powerful. They've got a huge array of turreted weapons, However, they have got very weak armour, so they're effectively glass cannons, but they're also very fast. They're very good for the hit and run tactics, get in, get out. There's rows of destroyers. I also have some different tactical modes. This third person view, which we can have a look and keep an eye on our target if we just wanted to go with more turreted weapons, so we can use this view to try and keep our turrets always tracking on our target. And just outfit our ship with a larger array of turrets and more damage dealing turrets that we can then protect our weak sides. You can see on the bottom right of the radar display, got some circular shapes. These are representing damage, and I've taken some damage to my right side armour. I'm now adjusting my position and dealing damage to the left side of my targets, and my armour is now repairing as it's not been taking any damage. So turrets are very useful to keep up the pressure on an enemy. So you can have some light fitted turrets that are always just peppering the enemy with fire, and then you can turn, use your main guns and finish them off that way. And we've looked at our allied faction and now the opponent faction. We've got different ships. You can see we've got all our turrets loaded out on there. This is the destroyer I mentioned, which is very fast, but then very weak. You look at the defense HP averages 6,000 hull and only 1,000 armor. When we're looking at a frigate, it's like 9,000 hull, and even a light frigate has got more armor than a destroyer. You can change how you go, make it more difficult or easier, even going far as changing teams' distances, swapping out opponents. So even though we could say we're now outmatched, I could have allied ships fighting on the opponent's side against me if I wanted to, or get a mix going on there. And this would be a battle to test me where I'm outmatched. We're very close. Torpedoes probably aren't going to be very useful. We'll use some MLRS. Start firing off. If you're looking at the top right of the screen, you see you've got a damage control system. So we take damage in various areas. We've got subsystems that are not protected by armour, such as the engine and sensors. The bridge, they're not very well protected. Others are, like the reactor and auto repair, so they will start taking damage once the armour has reduced to 0. You see this guy's taking a bit of a pounding. He's a light ship. All our weapons have mass, so when they hit, they're going to apply forces onto it. And explosions also have, let's see, look, here he's spinning out of control at this rate and going faster than me, so I'm going to use a forward thrust override so that we can now try and catch up. He died, so I'm using a forward thrust override here where I'm going faster than the maximum speed we've set, which is more of an indicator of allowing you to keep control, because as I turn now, I'm still sliding and I'm not going forward as my engines are now fighting to change direction. As I now turn 180 in my velocity, my rear engines have got more force, so it's going to help us slow down. And eventually our speed comes 0 and we're now accelerating in the correct direction. Do have afterburner to handle that. So I hold reverse thrust override and then afterburner in the tab. Use missiles and peppering from a distance. I could also try and target other systems. It's a smaller one, so hitboxes are smaller, got his sensors. That means his gun accuracy will be less. It's getting bounced around with all the impacts of my heavier weapons, which is neat. And also getting bounced around by the explosions of the missiles. So small, fast, nimble, but once it starts getting peppered, it's in trouble. Finish you off with the torpedo if we can. Oh, it missed. Damn you. Maybe I should have told everyone to hold fire and stop bouncing you around. And that way we might have a better chance of hitting you. There we go. So there's a use for holding fire. Switch back to our longer range MLRS. I can hit slide now, so I can maintain velocity without afterburning if I wanted to. Just to also note that your turrets are not protected by armor either, so you need to be careful. If I can try and show this off now. If we could take some fire on top of us, you actually hit my turrets. And once they take too much damage, they'll vanish and then they'll need to repair. Hope you enjoyed that short developer guide to A-Spec First Assault. Demo is available on Steam during Next Fest and beyond. You can try it at your own leisure. Don't forget to wishlist, follow, stay tuned for further updates.